Has your weight been creeping up upon you in the dead of night and you've been told, just eat more protein? What if I told you that you're being bamboozled with your protein sources and that could be causing the sudden weight gain that's holding you back from your goals? If you're tired of the weight gain slump and want to avoid these common mistakes with your food choices, then I highly recommend sticking around to the end of the video so that you can lose weight fast. So let's get into the video. The first food that is mistakenly called a protein source is peanut butter. Peanut butter is considered a health halo protein source because of the 8 grams of protein that you get per serving. So 2 tablespoons of peanut butter holds almost 200 calories and 8 grams of protein. What most people don't understand is that this is plant protein, and while plant protein is a good source of protein, as in getting in more nutrients from plant protein, it's not necessarily filling on its own. And that is because it's not a complete protein. In order for something to be a complete protein, it needs to have a full amino acid chain of different parts that will make a complete protein. And since we're missing some of those parts in peanut butter, this makes it less satisfying, and so you're able to increase your calorie intake by overeating peanut butter, and actually say that peanut butter is more so a fat source than it is a protein source, hence why it's so high in calories. So while you think that you're getting a good source of protein that's going to help you lose fat and help you to be satisfied, you are mistaken, because peanut butter is not a complete protein. It's not going to satisfy you, and peanut butter would not be recommended for a weight loss plan because peanut butter is very high in calories. So if you're trying to lose weight, try to avoid peanut butter as much as you can, or have 1 tablespoon instead of 2 tablespoons to reduce calories. And for a complete protein source, instead of just having peanut butter, try to include things like chicken, for example. Chicken is a complete protein because it has all the necessary amino acids that are needed for our body to be satisfied. It also has less calories, so it's more suitable for weight loss, so you're able to stretch your calories, get in more of those macros like protein, and speed up your metabolism. Complete protein sources allow you to increase your body's thermal energy source and burn more calories by digesting protein. So when you eat things like chicken is going to stay in your stomach longer because proteins take longer to digest versus things like fats or carbohydrates. And that is why it's so easy to overeat or come back an hour later to eat more of that thing in order to get that satisfaction feeling. But again, those types of foods are not filling on their own. Our next food that's often mistaken as a weight loss food is beans. Beans can be a weight loss food, but not by themselves because they are higher in carbohydrates and higher in calories. So if you're just eating beans on their own, you may or may not be satisfied depending on how hungry you are or the meal that you've had before. Since beans are higher in carbohydrates, they're very easy to overeat because carbs are always easy to overeat because they're not paired with protein, healthy fat, and fiber. So let this be a reminder to you to always pair your carbohydrates with a source of protein, fat, or fiber. So something that you can add to the beans to make it more filling is things like ground beef. Ground beef is a complete protein and includes all the amino acids that we need to feel full. And again, it's lower in calories, more suitable for weight loss, and there's many different things that you can do with ground beef and many different recipes that you can try online. Ground beef helps to stop the overeating from the beans and helps you to eat less so that you're able to have more portion with each of your meals and to prevent snacking in between. Or if you're somebody that even struggles with late night snacking, having something like this and this kind of meal helps to increase satisfaction and helps to improve volume and prevent that snacking that will further cause you to add more calories to your deficit. And if we want to lose weight, we need a deficit in order to burn fat and get down to a smaller set point. Moving on, our third food that is often seen as a good protein source is peas. Peas are a great food for fiber and nutrients and helps us to get in those vitamins and minerals that we need from vegetables. However, it's not the best protein source because of, again, plant protein. But it's also very important that you pay attention to how many calories you're eating because, again, anything can add up, even with certain vegetables or fruits. So just pay attention to the amount of calories that you are consuming in all of your meals and snacks. Swap that you can make for the peas are things like turkey, because turkey, again, is another source of protein that is complete and can help you with satisfaction, keeping you from overeating, speeding up your metabolism, and helping you to have more portion. Also, another helpful tip can be always making sure to measure out your food with measuring cups or food scale is super important because you get a more accurate measurement of how many calories are in each food. So if you want to reduce the peas because they can add up and become too calorically dense, you can use something like a food scale to measure that out so that you're not overeating peas. And it really does go to show that a lot of companies tend to lie about the amount of calories are in each food and the serving sizes on the nutrition facts label. So if something is like 180 calories for 32 grams, for example, like the peanut butter, but when you go to weigh it out, the amount of peanut butter that you're taking out of the jar doesn't align with the amount that you're supposed to be taking, and it's like more like 68 grams, then obviously you're taking too much peanut butter, and that could be a reason why you're not losing weight because you're taking more than what you're supposed to have. And finally, our final food that is often seen as a halo food or a great protein source is soy milk. Well, soy milk is a great swap for things like regular milk if you struggle with lactose intolerance. It's not the best protein source on its own, and often soy milk has lots and lots of sugar, and they don't always have the best ingredients. Another downside to soy milk is that it tends to be very high in fiber, and if you're somebody that struggles with IBS or aka irritable bowel syndrome, it's very important that you're trying to stay away from things like soy milk, as this could cause indigestion, bloating, and an upset stomach. Also, again, soy milk is an incomplete protein, and if we're trying to avoid regular milk because we're lactose intolerant due to a dairy allergy, then we need to pair the soy milk with something else to make sure that we are satisfied. So if we want to up the protein on its own, we could include things like eggs, because eggs do not have the lactose from things like milk. We can pair that with the soy milk so that we're upping the protein and increasing satisfaction and getting in more volume in our stomach. This is a helpful weight loss hack. And another thing I would like to say is that when we have eggs, it's very important to not have too many eggs, because full eggs tend to have fat, and fat is not necessarily bad. However, it's very easy to overeat eggs and fats can add up. So mixing in regular eggs with egg whites or just having egg whites on its own is also another helpful tip. Choosing the right protein sources will maximize weight loss and build a consistent meal schedule that will help you lose weight. Calories are the biggest thing to focus on with weight loss, so make sure to get in solid protein options that are complete, not high in calories, fatty, or carby. The more you can stretch your calories while meeting your protein intake, the better. If you have any more questions on including the right protein sources into your diet, make sure to leave your comments down below and I will answer them. See you in the next video. Bye.